Today I want to talk about Rob Zombie's experience filming Halloween 2007 and Halloween 2. It might have been a miserable experience, you guys. Let's get into it. What's up, I Like Scary? We are back. I hope you all having an awesome day. I'm having an awesome day. It feels great to be a horror fan. So you all, today I want to talk about a new article we got on Screen Rant. You know, talking about Rob Zombie's experience with his past two Halloween films. But before we get started, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps. So y'all, from my understanding, basically Rob Zombie had a lot of studio interference with him putting these two films out. Now, me personally, I love, Rob Zombie's 2007 Halloween. I love Tyler Mane. He's so brutal, but we'll get into that, later in this video. But, a lot of people give Halloween 2 hate and everything. And Rob Zombie actually touched on in this article, in the interview, saying that basically, the studio kind of interfered, with his project and kind of made him pull away from Halloween. It just, his experience was bad. So let's get into this article, you guys, to get more in depth with this. Saying there's a reason that Rob Zombie came back for Halloween 2. The director, producer, and writer of 2007 remake of Halloween. Zombie put together a slasher revolving around the monstrous Michael Myers as he hunts down high school student Laurie Strode. While Halloween was a complete success, Zombie was reluctant to return to the project after experiencing an unprofessional environment during the shooting of the first movie. So you guys, like I said, he had a bad experience, sadly, with, producing Halloween and everything, and just being on set and trying to get his film out there, which is very bad because, where you work, you want to be comfortable and be able to think and do things like that. I can only imagine. Now, this is stuff that happens on set for writers and behind the scenes that we never hear about. Also, getting into the actual words of Rob Zombie that comes from a podcast from Howie Mandel Does Stuff via comicbook.com, saying, I go to make the sequel, which I refused to do. At first because I just wanted out of my contract, because I wanted to kill myself. Wow. I had a 3-picture deal, then a couple years later they had fired 12 different directors for Halloween 2. So I came back. I'll direct it if you let me out of the 3rd picture, so I don't have to do 3 pictures. Let me out of the deal and I'll do it. So I go to shoot that, and Bob Weinstein comes to the set. He's showing me the trailer for my Halloween as if I've never seen it. And he goes, every frame of this movie is fucking genius. This is the same guy whose every frame in this movie I fucking hate. Wow. This is crazy. So giving him a hard time, man, it seems like. Also, in another part of this article, saying there's a good reason for Zombie wanting to get out of Halloween 2 and potential Halloween 3 after a fraught production experience caused him to absolutely hate his own horror franchise. He pronounced that creating Halloween was a miserable experience. The actors never knew what to do on set, and the director himself was constantly facing disagreement and contradictory ideas from the executive producers. Returning for a Halloween 3 would be more nightmare-inducing than Michael Myers' worst attack. Wow. Also, saying his experience with Halloween eventually led Zombie to giving up on the franchise entirely. He still hasn't watched the new Halloween franchise movies because he just can't bring himself to care for Halloween anymore. It makes sense that he would, want limited involvement with the franchise after his experience on set, and it certainly explains why he was willing to return solely to get out of his contract in Halloween 2. This is crazy, guys. And, to kind of get into everything with this, we kind of find out that they gave Rob Zombie a hard time, man, on set, like pulling his trailer up like it's not his trailer, like he hasn't seen these scenes and he wrote it. And kind of, it's almost like they kind of trying to change things. Like, couldn't let him be, the writer that he is and tell his own story of Halloween. I feel like, as a writer, that is very insulting. And, just having like everyone on set and mainly just the studio trying to change things and make things more Hollywood and stuff like that. Now it kind of makes me feel like bad for Rob Zombie. Matter of fact, it does make me feel bad for him because, man, he gets so much shit to this day from these two films. People like, it's not done right, and personally, I'm a fan. I love Tyler Mane. To kind of get into that, man, Tyler Mane is brutal. 7-foot monster, beast Michael Myers, breaking down a door. I love that scene where he takes out Danny Trejo with the TV. He was just brutal, and I definitely seen Rob Zombie's vision for sure. That's one thing I can say. I seen his vision. How he kind of want to dive more in depth than Michael. But I feel like with the mythology and everything, it kind of jacked up the image. But I definitely seen the image of this whole film overall because he definitely tried to do something different because as Halloween fans, we always had that question: what is Michael? Where did he come from and stuff like that? Rob Zombie, from my understanding, trying to answer those questions unless the studio kind of wanted to make that happen. Because from this article, I'm getting the vibes that the studio kind of wanted to shape this franchise that he kind of brought back into something different. Now, like I said, 2007 Rob Zombie Halloween, I loved. I love Scout Taylor Compton. She did a great job as Laurie, kind of focused more on PTSD. Her scream just made you feel the trauma that was going on. I loved how they kind of just gave Laurie her own feel. I know a lot of people are not a fan of that, but I love Scout, man. Scout is very talented, especially just her body and Laurie, in my opinion. It was a great, movie for me. Danielle Harris also. I loved what Danielle did, just bringing her back as Annie. And she just does, such a great job also. And it was cool for her to be back in the Halloween, franchise in the loop. But one thing I want to say is, man, when you work, especially on some things like this with a Michael Myers film, it's already pressure. It's already a lot of pressure. You're dealing with one of the biggest horror icons there is, and you already got people in your ear trying to change things. You already got your script wrote out or whatever you want to do. You got your mind set on these things. You got people kind of making things hard for you, trying to change stuff, especially the studios. And he said that it was times where people were on set, they didn't even know what they were doing. I know that is very, very, a lot much for Rob Zombie because he has to deal with writing and who should be here and who should be there. But you got other people that should be helping you on set, from my understanding. And he just he said it made him fucking miserable and made him want to kind of kill himself, man. That's crazy. And it's very sad that it makes him not want to enjoy Halloween anymore. Because from my understanding, I had watched an interview. I watched all the behind the scenes for Halloween. It's Rob Zombie. It looked like they had fun though. That's one thing I can say for the behind the scenes of what I've seen with this. It looked like they had a lot of fun. But from my understanding, it seemed like it was a miserable experience for him. And he only came back for 2 to get out the contract to be safe from legal, issues and stuff like that. And we all know that was kind of a Halloween 3 idea pitch that included Tom Atkins and Scout Taylor Compton being like an insane asylum and stuff like that. So, but personally, to be honest, man, Halloween 2, I'm not going to say that it's probably was Rob Zombie's full fault from after reading this, because it sounds like a lot of people, especially the studios, the Weinstein, what they did with Wes Craven and stuff. It's a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to speak on that, but you know what I mean. They can jack things up, from my understanding. So I definitely want to say that with Halloween Rob Zombie, the Halloween 2, it was pretty much a lot, man. I can't get into it. With the horse with Sherry Moon Zombie, and you just having, Hobo Myers. But that's the thing. Out of all, we seen with Tyler Mane, I love all the looks. I love when he has the shot, you got the shot right here, and he has the bullet hole right here, just both shots with the blood. And I love the scene, he kills the nurse, and it's like he's drenched in rain, and his hair is down. It's really scary, man. People call it the nightmare sequence because, Scout had a nightmare and everything. He has the axe, and he goes ape shit. I love it. You know, and that nurse kill is so fucking underrated. When he's stabbing, you literally hear bones cracking. I love that scene, man. I feel like the beginning, you know, you got Lori walking down the street after she just shot Tyler Mane in the face, Michael, and I just love the beginning, man. But it kind of goes focusing more on PTSD and stuff like that, and just more of Lori's trauma, which is fine, you know, which is fine. But it kind of just took a dark twist for me, you know, with the white horse, kind of just. It was just a lot, man. It was almost on some like, I feel like this. One thing I want to say, I feel like Halloween 2 was more paranormal, man. You know, then you got Michael saying, die, like, you know, but I'm not saying that that's Rob Zombie's fault, man. Rob Zombie did a phenomenal job of 2007, all the way from when Michael was younger to when he gets the fucking mask out the floorboard and he puts it on. Michael was brutal. The kills were amazing, man. Like, I feel like he did a good job, because I feel like, it's like, okay, when you think about it, in 2007, for that movie to come out in 2007 of Michael Myers being, you know, brought back, it was good for its time. I'm going to say Halloween 2007 was very good for its time. It did a great job at kind of, you know, being a movie for now. And I feel like I still go back and watch it here and there. Like, once again, I love all the masks. I love Scout and Danielle. Like, it's a lot of scenes that when I seen Mike, I'm like, this man is a beast. He's a machine. Like, he's a machine. Like, that scene where Dee Wallace is in the house and her husband's on the front porch. You know, he's blowing a cigarette, and Michael just comes up and just hits him, and he falls in. He slams the door, and he takes out Dee Wallace. Crazy. You know, the asylum scene was dark. But it was like, man, just seeing Michael, what he did to Danny Trejo, and seeing what he did to Joe Grizzly, you know, and he's wrestling with him. That's brutal, man. I see why, you know, they kind of wanted to go a different route with Halloween. Same thing with David Gordon Green. And one thing I want to say is, people talk a lot of stuff about the trilogy and everything, man. Listen to Rob Zombie's experience. Listen to it. Listen to Rob Zombie's experience, man. This is crazy. You know, he had a hard time just trying to get through, do his work, and give us a good film. But he's having a hard time. He can't even, you know, fucking get through. And just right because people are giving him a hard time to the point he's like, you know what, I don't care for Halloween. He hasn't even seen the new ones. As you've seen in the article, he hasn't even seen the new ones because he can care less for it because it gave him so much of a rough time. And I can feel that, you know. It's not, I think the franchise in general is more of just the studio. And, I watch, you know, Talk to Me Scary podcast. Shout out to Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton. They always bring up the how much fun they had on set, so that's very interesting. And how much fun they had, you know, how cool Rob Zombie is and Tyler Mane. Like, they had a lot of fun. They love Halloween, you know, they love it. So it's kind of sad, you know, that, you know, behind the scenes it was kind of hard getting this movie out and everything. Because like I said, I enjoy it. But yeah, back to the David Gordon Green thing. We were giving them a hard time. Hey, Halloween Ends sucks and all this. Just the trilogy in general. But look at Rob Zombie. He has so much of a hard time. It's just crazy to hear this. And you kind of push forward. And when you sit there and think about it, you just hear so many people talking about how much fun it was on a trilogy set with Kills 2018 and, you know, Ends. It was so much fun. It felt like a family. And Jamie Lee Curtis talking about how it felt like 78, and it just felt everyone was so welcoming, and everything just merged perfectly. But you go jump back to 2007, Rob Zombie has nothing good to say. It's like he had a hard time. It's like a nightmare for him. So, I mean, pretty much that should just kind of make you guys grateful, you know, like, you got to think about the writers too, man. You know, you got to think about the writers. And one thing I will say, man, look, Ends is not as bad as Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's just not. If you go back and look at that, man, look, I know some people that say they can't even get through the movie. I can get through Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I can get to it. But once it gets to the end, you know, Michael's like 80% of his mask is snatched off and everything. And, you know, he's walking through the cornfield and shit. And he's like, die. I'm like, man, it's just rough house as hell, man. It's brutal. But I do like a lot of the kills and stuff, man. He made Michael push over a damn car in that, you know. I just feel like Rob Zombie has this certain look for his films that, you know, you can tell it's a Rob Zombie film, you know. And one thing that just makes me, it's an eye-opener, is that maybe that's part of the reason why a lot of stuff was kind of thrown together, because he just wanted to get the hell out. He wanted to get the hell out the contract and move forward with his life because he was locked in the legal way, and he didn't want to get, you know, hurt in the end. So, I mean, that's fair. You know, that's fair. I know a lot of people, it's a lot of people out there that wants to see a Rob Zombie Halloween 3 and see what happens. I mean, now that I know about all of this, if they did do a Halloween 3, Let that man do his job. But I know that he said he's not dealing with the Halloween franchise no more. He's washing his hands. He's done with it. It was a miserable experience, which is very fair. I know, we all want Danielle Harris back, which I keep touching on in previous videos. Team Danielle Harris, Jamie Lloyd, Rachel. I want them back, man. They're a part of the franchise, and I think it's time that Danielle Harris gets her flowers, man. I think it really is. And yeah, I really do. But once again, like the scenes in 2007, man, some of those scenes in my book, they stand out a lot. They're very iconic, especially with Tyler Mane. A lot of the house scenes when he's like kind of going after Danielle and everything. It's just crazy. She's screaming her lungs out. It's even some little cool scenes in Halloween too, It's some cool scenes, but more of mine are in 2007. I love the scene when he gets the mask out the floorboard and he puts it on. And I loved how they kind of captured that Tommy Doyle on Lori, essence when they're outside. I just love Scout Taylor Compton. I know a lot of people like, that's not Lori. To me, it looked like just like a new age Lori. I think she did a good job, man. She kind of showed more of that teen, if that makes sense. And Tyler Mane did a great job, especially like at the final act. When he kind of tackled Scout off the roof. That was brutal, man. Malcolm McDowell and playing Dr. Loomis is crazy, Malcolm McDowell playing Dr. Loomis is crazy. So, yeah, you guys, comment down below what you all think about this experience that Rob Zombie had for his 2 films of Halloween. And what do you think about everything, about the studio interfering? And how do you even feel about the Rob Zombie Halloween movies in general? You guys know Michael Myers is the face of the channel. We love Michael, man. It's always going to be Halloween content. Here we got more Halloween content coming here and on live streams. So comment down below what you guys think. Unfortunately, this is the end of the video. Don't forget to hit me on my social media. ILIKESCARY on Instagram, ILIKESCARY_ on TikTok, and Brandon Allen on Facebook, ILIKESCARY on Twitter. And right there where subscribe. Next week, click join and become a member of the channel. I want you all to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. I love you all. Peace.